I feel like that matchup is totally fine. But you can still lose good matchups, and you can win bad ones. Let's keep this hand. I think I'll put back Fire Ice or Snapcaster. Let's put back the Fire Ice. The opponent didn't reveal Lura, so they're less likely to be a creature deck. Against Esper. I feel like the Esper Reanimator deck's been somewhat popular. I'd over 2 Scalding Tarns, that's fine. General tactic for countering Stall, Fog, Mill style decks. Against Mill, you can play Eldrazi, and against Fog, you can play Planeswalkers, you know. Pauper specifically. I guess Pauper is a bit different. I don't know. I'm not versed enough in the Pauper format to comment probably. That's my opinion on Demilich. I'm actually liking the deck a bit. I played a little bit. I played a prowess version off stream yesterday that was playing Swiftspear over Phoenix and playing Iteration over Charter Course. I got the I was also playing Soul Scar Mage. I was just more a prowess. It was really just blue-red prowess with Demilich over Stormwing Entity that I liked. I felt like that felt pretty good to me. And I may revisit it at some point. I'm not sure. I can go snap Thought Scour here. I don't necessarily want to give my opponent something to use their mana on and counter, so I think I'm just gonna get a dual landed untap. Alright, so now I'll probably go snap Thought Scour end of turn, and maybe we can play Murktide with Counterspell up. Although if we miss a land drop, I'll probably cast Iteration. They're missing their land drop again, but I think with my hand being full and me like potentially having to go to discard, I'm gonna cast the snap. What's the reason behind 4 Fire Ice? Fire Ice is pretty good in the metagame. It's a very versatile card that it's like the 1 toughness removal matters a lot against the Darcy Ragavan decks. It can be good against they have Kaya's Guile. It's pretty good for them. That matters a lot against like the Darcy Murktide Hammer Time decks, and the Ice is like kind of good against the rest of the matchups. It's just a card I think is underplayed in Modern and good, and you know again, like the theory behind this deck, right, is that we're not playing Ragavan or Darcy because the format's inhospitable to these cards. There's a ton of cheap removal for them, but 2, when your opponent sees a deck like the one we're playing, they are going to think that I have Darcy Ragavan in my deck, and they're going to keep in cheap removal for these cards against me. I'm gonna go for Murktide Regent next turn. I might get them to discard a card here. Yeah, they might. They're very likely to leave in like the cheap removal that's not good against my deck because of what they'll think my deck contains these cards, which has some value too. Not a ton, but I think it's a cool angle of attack. I just make well, I guess never mind, I just go all in. I thought I had more mana. I guess I could tap 1 land, leave a spell in the yard for the second Regent. I'll just let this one go. Wow, Flexo's Wildfire. Yeah, Cleansing Wildfire is not a good card in Modern at the moment. Alpine Moon is just like so much stronger as a land hate piece. Yeah, my opponent's still missing land drops. I think I'm just content to like make them cast spells here, and if they don't draw land, they have to discard. They did draw a land. With me potentially missing my land next turn, I'll cast Iteration. I'll let it resolve. Yeesh. No land kind of stinks, but I will just go ahead and ask them to cast a counterspell here. They have Cryptic? Spell Pierce, I guess. Kind of does open up the window for them to Planeswalker me if I don't draw a land off Teferi. If I draw a land here, we win. How's another Counterspell? Fine, maybe. There is friction between Snapcaster and Murktide, but I think without playing like other versions of these decks play Mishra's Bauble, Darcy, Ragavan, and they have a much harder time with that friction. And this deck that gets to play many more instants and sorceries, I feel like it's not that big a deal. Feels a bit bad to not get the Teferi here, but I really want to hit my land drop, and I obviously want to really kill this. Yeah, I'm pretty happy that they minus there, honestly. They're passing? But it's definitely playing a far more old school version of Esper. You really need that many white sources in this deck? I mean, I think so. I'm also playing. I have Prismatic Ending, which wants to play white on turn 1. I also have Kor Firewalker in the sideboard. Don't know. I missed who that was from. I'm damned. If you could post a link in chat, I'll take a look. I can't copy from my view. Or from this view. Snap Counterspell doesn't play very well around Supreme Verdict, but I think I want to get another threat in play, and while also like using my mana like as efficiently as I can. Looks like they have Counterspell. I guess I'll counter back. If they have Teferi Hero and they minus the Murktide, my Snapcaster will be able to kill their Teferi. We also have the very rare Snapcaster Grow Murktide synergy. Maybe not that rare. Here's the deck tech. So it's Prime Speaker Vanifar. I've played this, I feel like, kind of recently. I guess it was months ago, now that I think about it. I would not recommend playing Subtlety. I feel like that card is quite bad in most Magic formats these days. And every day, really. I wouldn't play any Subtleties. I would play 4 Recruiter for sure. I wouldn't play any Pestermite. I would play Deceiver Exarch over Pestermite. Or at least a 1-1 split, but just playing 2 doesn't seem that good to me. You might not even need... I guess you need 1 for your chain. Yeah, I guess you need 1 for your chain. Alright, so Prismatic Ending has a target now. And then we can Murktide Regent for 4 mana if we want to. But I think I'm going to wait a turn on the Murktide Regent in hopes that it's going to be a bit bigger. I like the 1 copy of Endurance a lot. Oh, sorry, I missed the Deceiver Electric. You have a 2-2 split. That actually feels kind of high. Those numbers. I would maybe try to trim 1 copy. I like the Stoneforge Mystic package, although in a deck like this, I would probably play sort of Fire Ice or Feast and Famine. I would play Drannith Magistrate over the Eidolon of Rhetoric in the sideboard as well. That's something that I've been preferring because that card's way better against the Cascade decks. You probably don't need that many Remorseful Clerics. I'm gonna Thought Scour them. I feel like our deck size could be relevant soon. You probably want to main deck Skyclave. Those are most of my thoughts. I know it's kind of a loose thought. These toolboxy strategies are like really hard to just completely dissect and tell you exactly what's perfect. A lot of playtesting comes into factor, but I've also played a lot of those style of decks, and I do like them. Probably shouldn't be doing this. Yeah, no, I think I want to delve over the Thought Scour. I should have exiled the ending too. Alright, see how many more answers to Murktide they have. Hopefully they have just like Prismatic Ending, Fatal Pushes in their hand. Yep. 17 cards left in our library. 1 Snapcaster Mage, 2 Murktide Regents as win conditions. You get to draw 2 cards. We're a bit flooded. Alright. It's a good draw. No, we're out of Snapcaster, sorry. And we only have 1 Murktide, sorry. Sorry, I miscounted. Only have 1 Murktide Regent left in the deck to win this game with, so I think I'm holding the Charm for counter magic. For another one. 10 spot. I am glad that there seemed to be on Dam over Supreme Verdict, because Verdict would be a card that we could not beat in this situation. How many bolts left? Good question. Oh, there's 2 more bolts. Yeah, okay, so the bolts actually just are gonna win the game. There's also 2 more Fire Ice. Right, yeah, 2 more bolts, so I guess I'm actually gonna draw 2. Yeah, there just are enough bolts to win the game. Are we just trying to go for it this turn? Seems like it. I'll bolt them once. And just bolt them twice. Good catch. 1 Castle Ardenvale main deck. I mean, I really dislike Castle Ardenvale and these Archmage Charm counterspell decks. I would play a Hall of the Storm Giants instead. I got plenty of time to just find another burn spell. Yeah, it has felt like in this matchup game 1, if you just hit them once with a Murktide, you have enough burn to finish them off. I guess technically you have 20 points of burn with 4 Fire Ice and 4 bolts, but it's unlikely that you never cast Ice. You also have Snapcaster Mage. Ulamog is not a castable card, James. Ulamog and Koselek are you're never gonna cast these cards against mill. You're never gonna get 10, 15, 10 or 11 lands in play. Yes, they're only 4 mill, but Emrakul is better because Tasha's Hideous Laughter cares about mana value. Yeah, but I wouldn't overthink it too much. Yeah, Tasha's can still be good against Emrakul. It depends on when they hit it. And also, like, exiling it in general is not something you want to do, but it is just better. What is this targeting? Just a draw 2? It's probably worth countering. we do not have enough fetchable lands in this deck to hardcast the Eldrazi. I really don't. I'm not usually a big fan of that plan. Like, I know that I was bringing in the Eldrazi as the 4-color deck that I had been playing like the last few weeks, but I want to make it clear that the reason I was doing that is because I have Omnath in that deck, and so like Omnath actually makes the Eldrazi somewhat castable. In this deck, it's not really castable. Did I find a burn spell? We have 4 cards left in our library. There we go. Man, Teferi's just Triome, I guess. 3 mana cycle. I don't know that I've ever played Teferis, like 2 Teferis at the same turn just to cycle like that before. I don't think I've ever just like had that come up. Bit weird. Prismatic Ending seems really bad against them. It can't answer Teferi Time Raveler though. Maybe we'll play 3 bolts, 2 endings. Nah, ending's just so bad against them. Yeah, it's the bird spell tutor. Which of the 2 Cascade decks do you think Elvor has a better position than Modern? Probably the Rhinos variant that plays Prismari Command and Fury over Cryptics and Jace. I like that deck a lot. Corn Chips, 20 months. Appreciate you. Shock and Watergrave. I guess they have Opts. Thank you, Bra. Appreciate that. I hope so, yeah. I'm currently the trophy leader at the moment, but at the end, we have a long way to go till the end of the season. A long way to go. And this game, I probably would want to cycle a Triumph if I draw it, so I'm gonna get the Fountain. I think I'm just gonna ice their grave here too. What's the record so far? We went 1-2 drop into 4-1-4-1, so 9-4. Not too bad. I brew with Siege around this new meta. No, I have a self-respect, and I like to win games occasionally. I wonder what it would look like to brew with Siege Rhino. I guess you would just always end up on the meme Reddit deck. Here's my 6 Siege Rhino deck. Nobody knew that there was actually secretly a great Rhino tribal payoff the whole time. I'm the one that found it on Scryfall, and now this is my new Rhinos brew that is going to take over the modern metagame. You can thank me for my Rhinos brew by subscribing with Twitch Prime at tier 3. I think we just let this go. I'm the only one who found out. There's a card that says when a Rhino enters the battlefield, scry 1. The ultimate payoff. And if you scry 1 twice, that's equal to drawing a card, baby. You want to bolt them so I can play 2 mana Murktide with Counterspell plus 1 mana spell up. Flusterstorm looking alright here. So we're cold to exactly Path to Exile here, but they didn't seem to have it at the end of their turn last turn, but maybe they're holding it for the Thoughtseize. And we just lost playing for Trophy Desert. Maybe we can get one today. Okay, now we're cold to Teferi Time Raveler or Kaya's Guile. Looks like they have the second Kaya's Guile. Pretty good turn for them. Oh no, I could have flashed in the Snapcaster! Oh no! Oh my gosh, sorry. I could have flashed in the Snapcaster, I should have. That was a big mistake. Realized it's just like a second too late. Kind of seems like they have Counterspell up though. Maybe it was fine. They do have the Counterspell. Oh no, what's this? Oh, it's Cryptic. They keep tapping 4 mana in these spots. So I'm like, what could this possibly be? I'm like, 4 mana in when I'm casting a spell. What could this possibly be? I just keep forgetting that Cryptic command is legal. I kind of want Iteration in my hand more than Teferi, to be honest. What could this be? Uh-oh. Oh, wait, this is... Okay, just draw 2. It's fine. The Thoughtseize. Okay, we've got 2 good cards in hand. They probably take the snap. They do. Yeah, Cryptic has not looked very good today, I'll also say. You have Dispute pretty easily here. It's a card that makes sense. Draw a card because of Prismatic Ending. No trophies today. We just lost playing for 5-0 to Bring to Light. Blix, thank you for your subscription. Appreciate you. Glad you liked the stream. You think this deck needs Supreme Verdict? Well, Supreme Verdict and wait, they just paid life. Oh, they Watery Grave. Supreme Verdict and Murktide Regent is a little bit of a nombo, but you certainly could play. You certainly could play Supreme Verdict in this deck, yeah. But I don't think it needs it, no. Is Force bad? Yeah, Force isn't super well positioned at the moment. I do think that eventually it'll come back around, though. Where am I at the trophy ladder? I'm currently number one. But only by 1 trophy. In principle, he could catch up like just any second. Any second. See if I draw Flusterstorm, Counterspell. Please, I had hoped their last card was Counterspell. Why Principe? You mean why them over anybody else? They had 75 trophies last season, which is, I think, a all-time record for MTGO. I could be wrong, but yeah, their last card was Sunken Ruins, I'm assuming. If that isn't the all-time record, I'd be pretty surprised. Maybe I should have shuffled the other Murktide. Is my opponent going to complain about my top decks in chat before the iteration resolves? Because they have no cards in their hands. I think that they're composing a message. I don't know. I'm probably being too pessimistic. Yeah, I think so too, Yindrik. It just has to be, right? It was a good top deck, but you know, I've just been in that spot a few times where it just feels like your opponent's like making you wait while they compose a message about your luck. I mean, and they wouldn't be wrong that I was lucky, but I don't care that I was lucky. I don't mind at all. Alright, so they drew a land, and we have a counterspell for whatever they draw. Yeah, I enjoy the fact that I was lucky, I do. They could have Shark Typhoon into something. No, snap. Alright, long match. Long match. Yeah, the iteration was really good. I guess we lose if we don't draw that or another counterspell there. I feel like I'll draw a land, but I'll mulligan. I do feel like I would draw land this game. Go to 5? Probably go to 5. This hand's better. I'd probably put back Snapcaster Mage Thought Scour. Basic Island, end of turn. My opponent's playing Blue Moon, I guess, so I want to make sure I can get all of my islands. And then if they resolve Blood Moon, they cut me off to Teferi and Prismatic Ending. Oh, they're a Saga deck? Why did they fetch Island end of turn then? There's no way they're... Aether Spellbomb means Saga, right? So I feel like I'm not supposed to play around Blood Moon if I see Aether Spellbomb. But they got Island. Maybe we'll just get the other island here as a hedge. They just have to be a Saga deck. I don't know. I'm not sure. Just the latest food pile, surely. Blue Moon in our Saga deck is how we finally become tier 0 food deck. I'm not sure if I should play Murktide this turn or not. It's probably pretty good too. Seems somewhat close. You bet Breach? Why would they play Aether? Neither Spellbomb or Iteration seem that good in Breach, but I mean, you should probably just play Iteration in any blue-red deck, right? Yeah, but I mean, yeah, Aether Spellbomb like does not imply Breach to me, and neither does Iteration, but like you probably just should play that card in Breach because the card's too good. Underworld Breach? Maybe. That stuff. Underworld Breach is definitely a deck you can beat out a mold of 5. That's this iteration here. There's another Murktide. We don't even die to Breach, so yeah, we beat them if they just go through the Breach Emrakul here. Oh! Thank you, Magic Online. Very cool. I don't know exactly what happened there. But now we no longer beat through the Breach. But surely if they're playing Thought Scour, they're not playing through the Breach. Unholy Heat, Murktide Regent. Wait a moment. Okay, Unholy Heat again. Okay, well, we'd be attacking them down to 1 life here if I hadn't misclicked. Or if... Did feel like Magic Online's lag was a bit of a factor. I think I went to attack stuff, they have 6. Yeah, I think that's how I registered it. But usually if you have 6, you can attack through. It is Blue Moon. I think I'm gonna just draw 2 cards here. And then just leave up the triple island, let it resolve. So I have to send the text. This is fine. They can go Snap Heats. So if they have another Counterspell, they get out of this. They do. Come on. So we win this game if we don't miss that attack, which is frustrating. We'll see if we can win anyways. Locked out of the Teferi. Why not counter the snap? Counting the snap plays around them having a second Unholy Heat in hand. Because they only have 1 red source up here. And they play their own Murktide. Can't snap Charm. If I draw Lightning Bolts, I can potentially Bolt Snap Bolt and win. Milled over a Bolt. I think I just ice their Murktide Regent here. Lose to Counterspell of some kind. Okay. Still in it. For now. They don't seem to have a Counterspell in their hand. Fire their Snap Bolt. That only puts them to... That puts me dead to a Bolt. So like here in the spot, I can't beat Counterspells. I can maybe beat Burn Spells. And yeah, that's their whole deck in theory. But I think I'm Snap Icing again. Okay, we drew a Bolt. They play Islands. Very tense spot. And take the hit. This way a Fire Ice could become lethal. A Fire specifically, I guess. We have Counterspell up too. Do I Counterspell this? I think so. They haven't had counter magic these last few turns. I guess I bolt first because ice can keep me alive for a turn in theory. The game is obviously just very easy if we don't misclick, but it's always really nice when misclicks don't affect the outcome of matches, you know? Much easier game if we don't misclick. Probably bring in the Firewalkers. Kind of bad against Blood Moon. I'm not sure that my opponent keeps in Blood Moon though. Maybe just play one Firewalker. You want to play a Wear Tear? I like my opponent's kind of likely to board out some Blood Moons. But we're on the play. They probably keep in like at least one. I'll play one Wear Tear. I'm a little scared of it. Wear Tear, the Spell Bomb. Did I Flusterstorm an Opt here? Or Thought Scour? I think I'm actually kind of just down to Flusterstorm Thought Scour, like to make Murktide Regent worse. And my hand is like really, really grindy. So like being able to trade 1-for-1 is I think just totally fine here. I'll counterspell another one. Genius. Wait, Quan kept one land Thought Scour on the play? It's sus. I'm currently at 15 trophies. Prince has 14, I think. Yeah, it's still the count. They did draw the land. They have Dispute. They don't have Dispute. And Teferi's not dying to heat at the moment, so I'm just going to plus. And said oops. Is the oops the keep? What's the oops? Principe plays a lot of different decks, just kind of like tier 1 decks in general. No, I don't think Principe would characterize themselves as a specialist of any deck, but pretty good at reading the metagame. Yeah, Principe has a Twitter that they post to like pretty frequently with most of their trophies. The game's pretty over. Oof. Either sounds good. Playing against Luris. Let's see which of the mini Luris variants we're playing against. Marsh Flats, Luris. Abzan. Ooh. I think Abzan. Could just be Golgari. Seeing how that Flusterstorm worked, would one Stubborn Dial in the main deck make sense? I'm playing a Spell Pierce in the main deck, but I would never play Stub if the only way I could turn it on is Murktide. I think. You need a higher density of creatures for Stub to be good. What kind of I've been playing effectively just blue-red prowess with Demilich over Stormwing, and I think that makes sense because I don't think Stormwing is very well positioned. Guess I'm ending here. Yeah, I don't think that Stormwing's very well positioned in the world of Unholy Heat, so but Demilich gives the prowess deck a really, really grindy game plan, which I've been enjoying. I'm not 100% sure it's like the way to go with the deck, but it feels pretty good. All right, I think this turn I'm going to hold up Charm, and then maybe we get the window to go ending with Counterspell up next turn. I did try First Day of Class Spider. I know that you love the card. I really disliked First Day of Class. I thought that it felt pretty bad to me. I'm not going to Counterspell Bob. We can just deal with it so easily. Hopefully, and this is hoping too much. This is just dreaming. Hope, but if my opponent plays Hex Drinker, I'll be a very, very happy MTGO user. And draw 2. How is Unholy Heat against Tarmogoyf? It's fine. It's definitely like, it's definitely a fine answer. Yeah, I think this turn I'm gonna go Fire. Hold up Counterspell for their next play. I'm gonna use the 2-mana answer instead of the 1-mana answer for mana efficiency. Although I guess I could have bolted and held up Charm too. Maybe that was better. That's probably better. We get 1 more damage in this way, which isn't very relevant. And they go Luris in hand, which blinks their counterspell. So yeah, the bolt's charm would have been a lot better here. Oh, I can now just play a big Murktide Regent though. It shrinks the Goyf down to 3/4, and I feel like their deck has a really hard time beating Murktide because their removal is like Fatal Push, Assassin's. I guess Trophy hits it, but like Fatal Push Decay doesn't. Loaded blue mana. We could have bolted Murktide to kill Goyf. Oh yeah, that would have been cool. But then we don't hold up Counterspell. I'm not sure that that's good. Is there Victim of Night here? My opponent about to cast Victim of Night. Voidwalker. Fair enough. I'll just bolt that. My Goyf was a 4/5, or I'm not sure. No, yeah, no, it had 4 toughness. What are you talking? Yeah, it had 4 toughness after the Murktide. Yeah, Bolt wouldn't have killed it. Because they had sorcery creature land in their yard. Okay. Could have countered Voidwalker and save Bolt. And I mean, holding Counterspell is so much better than countering the Voidwalker and saving Bolt. Counterspell is just like a time walk against them. They have double trophy! What the hell? Double trophy, sure. And it's you know, not that big a deal, but I was not expecting it. The Counterspell is just a much better card in this spot than Bolt, I think. It just passed back. Yeah, -1 trophy by double trophy, man. Oh man, they must be the trophy leader. If we go Snap, Counterspell, my opponent gets to resolve Luris. That's fine, we should be able to find an answer to Luris. They can't currently get any value off of it. Yeah, so Murktide only triggers when a card leaves the graveyard. So when a card goes to the graveyard, goes to exile immediately, if a Voidwalker or something like it's in play, it doesn't get the trigger. I think I'm here, I'm just gonna fire, hold up Charm. Again, the best iteration is the one that you hold as long as you can. Kind of like Brainstorm. And I want to be able to counter the Luris, so they can't get a 2 for 0. Just a 1 for 0. And double trophy was crazy there. If you never cast it, yeah, see, like we never cast these iterations, we won the game, so that's why they were very strong here. This might be the good old no sideboard. Maybe I want to play the explosives. Probably do. Or kind of Fire Ice for an explosives. Could play a Flusterstorm. I think this is fine. I guess Flusterstorm is better than Pierce, though. Is iteration the new? Is it jeskai stable? Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's pretty obvious like how format warping or how format defining, whatever you want to call it, Darcy, Ragavan, Urza Saga are. But like Unholy Heat, Expressive Iteration, both of these cards are just like probably as impactful, if maybe not. Iteration is maybe more impactful than Darcy Ragavan. The card is crazy good and goes in so many decks. Alright, I'll keep this. Mole's the 6 on the play. I don't think it's the same as Brainstorm because Brainstorm isn't card advantage. I mean, obviously the card is not the same as Brainstorm. It's not the same card, but I think that they have similar play patterns to Brainstorm. That's all I was saying. Obviously, they're very different cards. Since the 1/2 drop you saw, we're currently 4-1, 4-1 into 2-0, so it's been bouncing back a bit. Just lost playing for 5-0, unfortunately. I just want to get the Triome here. Hold the Thought Scour for now. I'm going to play Teferi in plus. It's kind of bad if they have Decay. I don't really mind that much if it gets trophied. Oh, sorry, 4-1 into 4-1 into 2-0. I think I misspoke. This is usually the time of the stream where, like, you know, I haven't eaten since this morning and things get a bit hazy. There are other viable archetypes besides. I mean, a combo's not that good, but there's more than just blue red X in the modern metagame. Draw 2. 1. Probably a mistake not to play elementals. My current strategy with most decks I play is dodge elementals. It's considering hammer combo, I guess it's just aggro. I would say that hammer is more so an aggro deck. It's very similar to Infect, you know, a deck that's, you know, trying to utilize pump spells. I care about this. I think I do. I think I do. Like with double Thought Scour in my hand, like I really just want to be Murktiding soon. But yeah, I would say Hammer Time is like way more similar to Infect than any combo deck. Still have all 4 Murktides in the deck. Haven't milled any over yet. Luris in hand. Over Charm Explosives. Still 4 Murktides in the deck. Draw a card. Iteration. And bottom exile. So all the Murktides are in the bottom. 28 cards. I think a Prismatic Command is a 2 of in a slower blue-red deck. Well, Prismatic Command shines the most when you have like either like Emrakul through the breach, like loot into some kind of combo, like, you know, the polymorph deck. It's good in those decks. I like the card with Wrenn and 6 being able to loot away your extra lands is like a nice small synergy. It's kind of nice with Omnath. You can put a treasure into play on turn 4, go Omnath fetch land, but I think that you do need to have some extra synergies with Prismari Command. And Shock Shatter has to be somewhat playable, but at the moment Shock Shatter is pretty good. So like I think that Prismari Command is a good card in the metagame, but it's not just like so good that I would put it in too many decks. How's Elemental so expensive? Well, it plays a lot of expensive cards. Heartless Act to remove 3 counters from target creature. Resolves. Resolves. Did they realize that this was the mode on Heartless Act here? They said, oh balls, lol. Funny. They were playing 3 snaps in this deck. Yeah, I feel like Heartless Act might be exiting my opponent's deck list after this match. Could be wrong. Trigger Murktide Regent, what a combo. Love to find a second one. Hell yeah. I'll see if I missed this attack. My opponent removed 3 counters from my Murktide Regent, so let's add 6 more. Yeah, I feel like that's gotta be an extra level of feel bad for my opponent. Yeah, they would need several Heartless Acts here to get out of this. What's the trophy deal? If I'm not trophy leader at the end of the season, which ends September 8th, I will give 200 subs to chat. Playing against Luris, I think I'll keep this. I think a Mardu midrange deck with the general could be decent. That was where I started with the 4-color version, because I was thinking that specifically 3-mana Kaya is pretty good in Modern right now. But the more and more I worked on the deck, the more I just felt like really drawn to Expressive Iteration. And I still think I want to be Iteration if I'm playing the general. So I think that the Mardu version would not be as good as the 4-color version that's not playing black that I've been playing, but you know, you could play Niv with Kaya in the general. You could play something different. What happens if I am the trophy leader? I get to not give subs. And we get to celebrate together. We'll have a good time. I'll do a no-hit Dark Souls stream. Why do you make this reverse free roll with myself? To kind of push myself, you know? To like really try to keep myself motivated and focused and give myself like a concrete challenge, you know? I think that is that's fun, and I think it's gonna push me further, you know? Playing against Hammer Time. Nice to have Archmage's Charm against Hammer Time. Trophy leader for all people? For all people, Mark. I'm currently number 1 on the board. I've been number 1 for like a week now too. But we have a long time till the end of the season, so it's like, you know, got a long way to go. Explain it in the Nahiri's sideboard plan in the general deck. I could have played this untapped or played this to play around Esper Sentinel, but they didn't have it last turn. Yeah, the idea is that Chalice of the Void is good in the metagame, but there are some decks it's not good against. So having like a 4-card package that can always come in for your Chalices is nice. But it's also true, like, the deck wants to play, the deck already wanted to play an Eldrazi for the mill matchup. And so that, like, cuts out a sideboard card if the Emrakul is already part of a sideboard plan. And then the Nahiri is actually pretty good in the 4-color mirror match specifically. It's probably not the best card you could possibly play, but I have liked the card in the matchup, and so that's been nice as well, just to have a good card for the 4-color mirror matches, which is a hard matchup for that deck anyways. So that's kind of the idea. Moose, 10 months, appreciate ya. And you can also, like, in some matchups you can just board in like 1 or 2 Nahiri if you have some dead removal spells. And like you can just grab Fury or Omnath if you ultimate. You don't always need to bring in Emrakul. I was doing that against some of the Ragavan decks. Am I restarting any league that I'm not undefeated in? No. I'm still playing the same way I have been playing, and I'm still gonna be trying to build new decks and try to innovate and, like, you know, just be playing Magic the same way I have been doing, but maybe more focused and, you know, a little more elevated. But I do think that it is bad EV to play at 0-2 or 1-2, so I'm still going to be dropping those leagues, but I'm not going to play any differently beyond that. I feel like the Stoneforge doesn't matter that much. I might just draw 2 here. Joey, thank you for your 1 month or 5 month reset. Appreciate ya. I think a chest getting the hype train off the station. You tend to hold Charm to steal against Hammer. Sometimes. Like in this spot, I think I just want to draw 2, and then maybe if I draw a fetch land, I can go, oh, I'm one short of fetch land into Murktide Counterspell, but I think I just want to draw 2 here. I don't really feel like the Stoneforge is doing that much in this spot. We've got 4 Archmage's Charms too, so it's not like you really need to hold that hard. You charm a creature with equipment on it, who controls the equipment? Your opponent does, but the equipment still stays attached. BW, 8 months, appreciate ya. Why not Unholy Heat in this list? Delirium is like pretty tough to turn on with no bobble and like not very many creatures. So we're playing Prismatic Ending Bolt instead of any heats. I kind of want to bounce that with Teferi, but I think I'm gonna counter this with Archmage's Charm. This way I can play Murktide Regent with Counterspell up. Ooh, although maybe I'll bounce the Saga with Teferi. Doesn't really accomplish all that much, I guess. Can just do that next turn, just try to race with Murktide. Though my opponent's probably not casting any spell this turn. The double silent clearing is pretty good for us. They're tapping the Saga. Not something I necessarily expected to see. We cast a Hammer, so they're going to go for another Paladin, but we have Counterspell for this, and this, like, really couldn't have worked out any better for us. Now I'm going to go to Fairy Bounce Saga, I think. I guess we're bouncing Saga every turn for the rest of this game. But, I mean, there's probably not going to be that many more turns unless they draw Ornithopter. Yeah, if they spend 2 mana to equip Shadow Spear, they spend 2 life and they can gain 2, but they're still dead to the Regent. Yeah, we just bounced the Thopter. Yeah, I think that we're going to win game 1 here, which is great for us because we have a pile of sideboard cards to bring in, so I think that we're very likely to win this match. They can always just play Saga equip. Yeah, I guess they go to 1, but you were right. This is a line. But then they go to 1 after the attack. They're really not in good shape. I'll probably just bounce the Stoneforge Mystic then. Is the Snapcaster Murktide tension pretty negligible? So like in like the other versions of the Murktide deck, I think the tension is worse because you play like 8 1-mana creatures and 4 Mishra's Bauble, and none of those work with the Murktide or Snapcasters. And so also to have the Murktide Snapcaster tension there, it's a pretty big issue. But in this deck that gets to play like, I think like 28 instants or sorceries, I don't think it's really much of a problem. Dar, thank you for your tier 1 subscription. Appreciate ya. Probably looking at Prismatic Command over Electrolyze. Yeah, if you wanted a card like that, but like I would just like, you know, Archmage's Charm, Snapcaster Mage, Teferi kind of fill the 3 mana spot pretty well. Okay, so we're up a game. Just a huge deal to be up a game in this matchup. I've been bringing in these 8 cards. I've been trimming 1 Regent, some amount of Thought Scour, going down to 1 Teferi, I think. I cut the counterspells. I think this is pretty good. Hitting the counterspells does make you a little softer to Luris, but I think it's fine. The card's pretty bad against the rest of their deck. Mulligan this hand, I think. I suppose Green Erectos for Rin 6 Goyf. I liked that deck list. I thought it was good. It's probably not as good as the Grixis variant, but I think it's doing a lot of things well. How do you feel about this one? I think I like this hand. This hand's just all sideboard cards. We're on the draw. We have like 2 turns to draw land. It has to be a white source though, but I feel like I probably won't look at this on 7. But I think this hand is better than the average 5. Against a Hammer type opponent that kept 7 too. Yeah, this is also the worst land, but it's just like Hammer Time when they keep 7 can be so grindy. I think it's just really hard to build to 5 in general. I mean, if we just draw a land, we just almost a white source specifically, we almost win the game. Let's go. Yeah, the upside definitely felt like it was here. So they have to lose an artifact, and then they have to spend their other 2 mana saving. They have to probably lose a Thopter, spend the other mana saving the Sentinels. Why was the 7 bad? What was it? 3 lands, 2 Fire Ice, 2 Murktide. That hand's like way too slow to draw. Murktide is also just not very good in this matchup in general, where it's like it's just not guaranteed to be the biggest thing on the battlefield. I think I'm gonna play explosives and pay. This is obviously like soft against Prismatic Ending, I guess. But this is also another turn of them paying for their Esper Sentinels. I won Chalice against the Cascade decks, Living End, Rhinos, Restore Balance. Also bring in it against Adnaz, but we're trying to play Chalice on 0 in this deck. Respect the line of letting the Sentinels die. Kataki's body count is now 3. Oh wait, surely the Vannifar deck had the Kiki Jiki. If it didn't, it definitely needed it. An oversight that they'll realize at some point. Or maybe they won't because their opponents always concede while they're comboing off and never realize that they forgot to add the Kiki. Yeah, like our deck, like this is kind of the card that people will bring in expecting you to be on. I think I'm going to pay and crack explosives in the turn. This is the kind of card that people will bring in against us, expecting us to be on Darcy Ragavan, and we're just not. How strong is Heliod Company in the current meta? I don't know. I feel like people need to be like trying to figure out like the best sideboard plan. I also like the idea of playing main deck Sanctum Prelate in Heliod. In playing Bird's Noble Hierarch over Arbor Elf Utopia Sprawl, so that way you just have no 1 mana spells. You can also play Prismatic Ending in the main deck of Heliod, and that's potentially good. Yeah, I'm signed up for the Hunter Burton. I've been to that event like the last 4 or 5 times. Not 4 or 5 years because we missed last year, but I don't ever miss that event, and I'm really excited for it. Why Darcy Ragavan? Those two cards are in so many decks together. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Expressive Iteration is better than Optivisions? Absolutely. I mean, the card is very different, right? This is a card advantage spell. This is those are cantrips. That's a Ponza. I think Ponza's fine. I would recommend playing 4 Ragavan, 4 Fury. And maybe play Obosh as your companion. I don't know why they played the drum. Feels like that was a mistake. I'm just gonna bolt the Stoneforge so I can attack here. It's also true, like, they can, like, end of turn, no, I guess putting in equipment in end of turn doesn't get around Kataki at all. 2 Rag 4 Fury. What's the thought on just 2 Ragavan? Is it anything besides card availability? Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Just 4 Ragavan seems so good in that deck. And yeah, I think that deck's probably a little slept on. Yeah, I agree that Skyclave's not great at the moment, Spider. I'm not sure what that was in response to, but I agree that Skyclave is just not that good right now. And Porks, thank you for your Twitch Prime subscription. Appreciate you, buddy. Kind of an abundance of riches here, huh? Take one. They have Shadow Spear, 3 and or Shadow Spear. What I'm assuming a hammer. Will they get cranial plating? Yeah, but they also now have 2 mystery cards still. Not sure really what those are. I've noticed Hammer Time playing any Dispatch. I feel like Dispatch is. I feel like I'd probably play Anthonice or Path to Exile over Dispatch. I really dislike adding another Triumph to be able to ending X4. I think that having a tap land in your deck is way more of a downside than like the possibility of exiling a 4-mana permanent. It's just like, you know, I've played ending in 4-color decks, and you really don't exile 4-mana spells that often with it. It is not free to put another Triumph in your deck. If you're a 2-color deck, adding a Shockland or a Triumph is probably worth it, because exiling a 3-mana permanent is way more common. Yeah, you're right. It is likely that they have a hammer in their hand. I guess I'm gonna fire a Midnight end of turn. Well, I guess I'm never gonna fire that. It is nice to play around against an aggro deck that just doesn't have any reach. You know, they can't lightning bolt me. I guess me saying that though is maybe a good way to die to gut shot this game. I mean, nobody's playing Jace the Mind Sculptor at the moment, or at least I don't feel like anybody should be. Yeah, I think Moth Nexus isn't too scary without a hammer equipped, and it's going to be kind of impossible for them to equip a hammer to it this game. Maybe fetching here is not that good, but I'm not really that worried about dying. Redraw. We could still Shadow Spear and equip. Is it possible to play some Blood Moons in our sideboard? I wouldn't recommend it. It's really hard to play Archmage's Charm and Blood Moon in the same deck. If my opponent plays Midnight, I probably steal Shadow Spear. You know, my opponent's hand is Cranial Plating, likely a Shadow Spear, and then 2 unknowns. Alright, I'll probably just fuse Wear Tear now. Or maybe I'm supposed to save Wear Tear for Saga. I'll draw 2. Okay, drawing Iteration, I think I'm fine to use my mana because I'm about to refill my hand a bit. Lots of mine, thanks for the raid, dude. Hope you're having a good day. Appreciate you, buddy. Is this game more similar to Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon? I've never played either game, but the 2 games that I'm familiar with that I feel like this deck has similarities to, I think this game has similarities to chess and poker. There's like a lot of the resource management and like trading pieces that chess has, and then there's like a lot of playing to your outs and understanding like the math of certain situations that poker has. So those are the 2 games I'm familiar with that I think this deck has similarities to, but there are probably somewhat better comparisons. Any thoughts on the Yawgmoth deck? I like the deck a lot. I think that's a deck that really rewards you for mastering it and playing it well. And it's probably a deck that if you are a master of the Yawgmoth deck, you can probably play in most metagames. The meta without Hammer but with Asmore, which artifact hate do you think is best? It's a tough call, I'm not sure. Maybe Stony Silence. But then like the Saga tokens still get pretty big, so like explosives maybe. Oh, there's Murktide Regent, showing a little late to the party. But I'm gonna go ahead and start the prediction. We lost our last league playing for trophy number 16. Let's see if we can reward the believers this time. Oh, we're also 4080. Maybe we'll get the 5010. Ah, we're playing against Doom for the trophy. Anybody know Doom's record? Oh, I've got a pretty good hand too. Yeah, I guess Doom just started streaming. Misty Rainforest. I know Doom's been playing some rhinos lately. Prismatic Ending is not too good against those. Okay, we'll find out what's going on this turn probably. Doom's 3-0. How's our rhinos matchups? Probably it's way better post board. If I get iced, am I gonna ice back? Or am I gonna just cast Murktide? Okay, now I'm gonna ice back. Easy. Decision. Makes the Murktide Regent 6/6, which isn't like all that relevant. If I bolt Doom, it makes Regent a 7/7 instead of a 6/6, but that doesn't really change the clock all that much. But I feel like that's probably the best use of bolt we're gonna have this game. I know Doom has not been on Subtlety. I'll Petty Theft. I'll Spell Pierce Petty Theft here if Doom casts it. So it could have Force of Negation though. Spell Pierce looking real good. Did Force. Oh no. So now we can go Prismatic Ending, Murktide. Shocks in, Suspense Footfall, sure. Murktide is just a 5/5 now. So we can't really beat too much follow-up. Unless we draw really well, I guess. What did they pitch? Prismari Command. Fury, pitch Fury, and I imagine Bone Crusher Giant. Okay. So they're pretty ahead. Doom's pretty ahead. We need a big top deck here. Yikes. Yeah, it has both of the Eldraine creatures, the Agent and the Suspend Footfalls. Gonna cast Borrower end of turn and their Jaw Step too. I guess I'm gonna bolt the Borrower here and hope to draw iterations. Oh, okay. Game 2. Game 2. Well, we get to bring in 3 copies of Flusterstorm, 1 Chalice of the Void, and explosives. We get to cut the Prismatic Endings, and probably the 4th Fire Ice over the 4th Bolt. Maybe the 4th Bolt. I like the Bolt kills Bone Crusher. I like just kind of racing with it. I like the 1 mana versus 2 mana. Probably doesn't matter that much. But both Murktide Regent and like we have a lot of good cards in this matchup. I really like being able to bolt Borrower for 1 mana in this matchup. Although we're on the play, actually, yeah, Fire Ice is like way better on the play. Sorry, I might change that back on the draw. There's usually 4 Borrowers and Rhinos. I feel like the Flusterstorms are so huge in this matchup. We have failed our 5-0-10-0 condition. Doomwake has taken a game off of us this match. All that for a drop of blood. When is a Clothless Temple sacrifice gonna return? I don't know. I feel like the joke was dying pretty quickly. But we have the temple up here still. I feel like the joke was dying. I'm glad that I discontinued it before it got really unfunny. I don't really like this hand. We don't have any sideboard cards. I think I have to keep, but I don't like this hand. Someone who played a decent amount of iteration, how awkward is the sorcery speed of it? Well, I'm surprised someone who played a decent amount of iteration is asking. That's just not that awkward. You like usually want to cast it at sorcery speed anyways. Do I ice here? Probably not. I think I just get the Triome. Yeah, I could have cast one of the iterations this turn. But I think I'm gonna ice on the upkeep here, and this lets me go iteration into find a land, hold up counterspell next turn. I did find the land. Yeah, I think this is the turn to ice. I do need to be worried about this. But this just guarantees no cascade this turn. Finding a Chalice or explosives off the iteration here is easy mode. Okay, I think I'm still casting it. Totally fine making this trade, I think. Alright, so if Doom casts Shardless Agent, I'm going to cast Spell Pierce on Rhinos so I can use Counterspell on the Footfalls. Next. Explosives? I mean, this is a blocker for the Rhinos. We lose to Borrower this game. And we also maybe get Alpha Strikes. Maybe Ice a Rhino next turn. Charm would be good to steal a Rhino. Yeah, I feel like these matches are usually pretty good. We have one Explosives in the deck. Which is obviously easy mode, right, if we find it. I feel like Doom's attacking here. I'm gonna block a Rhino. Take 6. Doom can Fury Regent, potentially. It's gonna be Prismatic Command plus Fire, Ice, or Bone Crusher. Pretty good. Could bolt my own Regent here to deny the thing, but I don't think that's worth the shock. Explosives for easy mode. And maybe also the only mode that possibly wins us this game. Oh, maybe I should take the Flusterstorm. I'm just dead if I counter because I have to fetch. Oh, jeez. Been a good day to be a doubter, huh? Lost 2 leagues in a row playing for 5-0. That could feel good though. 3-4-1s in a row. Doomwake and Boss.